I'm Pushkar Saran and I am Executive Director for IP Products at ETS. I take care of the Southeast Asia and South Asia region. I am an engineer by background. I've done my BTech from IIT BHU and I've done my MBA from ISB Hyderabad. It is very important that you should be adaptable. Research shows that around 72% of the companies now prioritize skills like problem solving, digital literacy and effective communication over just academic qualification. English become very important. You move from class 12th for any other program, any other jobs. I think the biggest challenge I see is the gap between academic learning and workplace readiness.
Hi, I welcome you to the Crazy Careers podcast.
Good morning. Good morning, Nita.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us in.
This is my pleasure to be speaking with you, Nita.
So, before we get into the actual conversation, would you mind letting us know a bit about yourself, your journey so far, and also the work that you do?
Yes, Nita. So I'm Pushkar Saran and I am Executive Director for IP Products at ETS. I take care of the Southeast Asia and South Asia region. I am an engineer by background. I've done my BTech from IIT BHU and I've done my MBA from ISB Hyderabad, full-time MBA.
Okay. So, considering your experience, I would like to know what does it mean today to be a globally ready professional?
See, I think first of all, being a globally ready professional, so there are a couple of things. I think first of all, we all know the nuance, and I will not cover the EQ, IQ. I will not cover the nuanced hard skill versus soft skills. I think we all know, the world knows it.
Yeah.
I think I will also share about a very interesting concept, which is about AQ, which is called adaptability quotient, right? Because in
Okay.
this changing world, in this changing all the new careers which are evolving, every year, every 2 years, a lot of jobs are getting redundant. So in that kind of environment, it is very important that you should be adaptable and your adaptability quotient should be really, really high. And if you actually see, TS has done a 2025 human progress report, and it has actually come out that there are 3 power skills which are really important in this era. I think so. One is English, the other is critical thinking, and the third, which I have already spoken about, is ability to adapt to different cultures. So if you are
Yeah.
good on these power skills, then your chances of growing the career is much faster.
Right. Why employers moving beyond degrees and focusing more on real world competence?
Okay. So, Nita, I think these days, you know that rarely people, what they are graduating in or what they are studying during your undergrad, they are not ending up taking the same profession. For instance, you yourself see, I think you are an engineer, but you're not doing engineering job. I'm a metallurgical engineer. I'm not doing a metallurgical engineering job because I've done my MBA later on. So what is happening that because people are not ending up in the same careers, and I was also explaining to you earlier that I am from ISB, and I've seen that most of my colleagues and batchmates, they have taken very different career paths. I had doctors, I had people from army, I had people from the IS officers, IPS officers, CAs. Employers are moving beyond degrees and focusing more on the real world competency because degrees alone don't predict the job performance anymore. Research shows that around 72% of the companies now prioritize skills like problem solving, digital literacy, and effective communication over just academic qualification. So, in my view, I think this is really important given the fast pace with which the world is changing, that you need to focus on these power skills versus only the academic degrees.
Right. So, is it because since you have mentioned about 3 skills, and out of those 3 skills, one was English and communication. So, I just wanted to check, is it communication as a skill or English communication as a skill, which is important out of these two for career growth in today's job market?
See, I'll just give you a very, very strong example, right? Which is very relevant in
Yeah.
today's AI world. And then maybe I can move on to the other aspects of the question. If you have used AI in this world, your output depends upon the kind of prompt which you give. If
Yes.
you are giving a very, very average prompt, your results will be very average. Even if you will try 3 times, 4 times, if you are not writing the very, very accurate prompt, which means you are not communicating well with the AI engine, you will not get the correct answer or correct destination what you are looking for. So hence, even in AI world, communication is so important.
Yes.
If you would have seen, if you have used Perplexity, Chat GPT, a lot of kind of tools, if you do not write the correct prompt, you do not get the right result. You may end up
Absolutely.
somewhere
Yeah.
else. So hence,
The input has to be good enough to give you a proper output or
absolutely,
desired output.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So now you understand that AI, which is not a human, which is just relying on all the prompts and inputs, and there are no emotions attached. Even
Yeah.
if there you need the right communication, how important it is to have a communication skill where humans are involved. You need to have
Yeah.
empathy. You need to have other understanding. You need to understand what the other person is actually thinking. You need to collaborate. So all that kind of thing is needed for a great communication. And hence, even in today's world, this is very important.
What are some common skill gaps that you have seen in Indian like professionals and also other professionals across the Asian countries? What are some common skill gaps?
I think the common skill gaps, which in India we have done the human skills report, as we have said, and we are seeing that in India, the critical thinking, communication, and adaptability, these are the three
Mhm.
things which are actually missing. And to close this gap, we need targeted upskilling programs. What we actually see is that one of the biggest gaps is between the academic knowledge and the application of the skills in the workplace. I have almost 2 decades of experience, and I have kind of handled various jobs, from
Yeah.
leading a business to doing a large transformation, doing a small startup. And what I have seen,
Mhm.
that the candidates who are able to solve things by first principles, or who are able to
Yeah.
go to the basics and roots, and they are able to answer and solve it in the workplace, they are able to perform much better than people who are not able to do that. So what I am seeing is that many young professionals are great in theory, but they often lack in application during the job scenario. And that is why this is really important, that the critical thinking, communication, and adaptability in the fast growing sectors like AI, healthcare, and digital commerce are very important.
Right. How companies today are using AI as a tool to evaluate talent and soft skills?
See, I think AI is revolutionizing the talent acquisition by automating the routine stuff and
Yeah.
providing the high insights into, like, say, candidates' soft skills. If you actually see, a lot of times we now have real time adaptive testing that measures things like communication, problem solving, and critical
Mhm.
thinking. So, as I was telling,
Right.
our skills, these account for 90% of the failed hires when they are missing. AI AI powered platforms also help companies assess the skills of their existing workforce, making it easier to identify and fill skill gaps internally.
Right.
So actually the catch is, while AI does the heavy lifting, human skills like communication are still necessary. As I was telling to you, even with AI, it is very important that you get the right prompts. And to your question of English is really important, because most of the AI tools, you will not be able to write in Hindi, right?
Yeah.
Most of the times they are trained to start in English, and then they actually move on to the other languages. So you need to
Yes.
have very, very good command of English. So much so, just to tell you a data point, people who are good in English, right? They are able to get promoted, say 20 to 30% more likely that they will get promoted. Study shows that employees with advanced English skills can earn 30 to 50% more than their counterparts who have the same technical skills but weaker
Yes.
language abilities. So, just to tell you, TOEIC, ETS, brand, the test of English in international communication. In India, ETS was focused mainly on the academic side. With TOEIC, we are trying to focus on the job market and the communications skills and the language side also. We actually provide support to 14,000 companies across the world.
Mhm.
30 international airlines are using the TOEIC program to use their English. So even in today's world, we are seeing that AI,
Mhm.
you need English to basically outperform in your job and to be relevant with the changing times.
Right. Recently, in one of the news, I have seen that Indian government is focusing on local languages and mother tongue basically for initial mode of communication for pre-primary and primary students for educating them. And at the same time, when we do our higher education and when we start our corporate jobs, English becomes important. So, do you think there is a conflict, or it is a good move? Or English also should be given as much focus as possible compared to local languages. So, What do you think about this entire scenario?
So very, very good point, Nita. I think, the way I see this is, so this is like a very, very large change which is happening.
Yeah.
This cannot be measured in like decades. This cannot be measured one era. What I'm trying to explain to you is, first of all, asking about the government. So yes, it's a very
Mhm.
important and significant step that the roots and the cultural nuances, the languages are kept alive, right?
Yeah.
Because if they will not focus, then very soon everything will become redundant. I can just give you a live example in my own home. My son, for the first 6 7 years, he was not able to speak Hindi, and me and my wife, we were like, why he is not speaking Hindi? Because we were speaking in English, and I was thinking that he's
Mm.
leaving everything, and the same is happening across everywhere. You see malls, you speak to any of the parents, kids,
Yeah.
most of them are speaking in English. So it is very important from the cultural point of view to keep everything in Hindi or maybe
Yeah.
the other regional languages. But on the other hand, the big shift which will take place is the way China is able to create their own large language learning models in Chinese.
Mhm.
So when that kind of shift will start to happen, that most of the global models, so for instance, the kid is trying to learn one language, but slowly the dilution is happening, and then he sees that if he has to give IIT, if he has to give CA, if he has to give medical, he has to learn those things in English. Those nuanced concept of projectile, if you will explain in Hindi, you will not be able to understand. The word projectile
Yes.
itself means something. So the point which I'm trying to say, that currently, while a good start has been made, but to see it through the end, that you are able to do the learning and still be competitive in engineering, in other things, in your regional language, will take some time. And that's where I'm saying this is not a decade era shift. This is like, so this will take much more, much beyond what we have seen. So for instance, China has taken like 30 40 years where like most of the things are Chinese. Now they are insulated also.
Yeah.
They have
Yes.
downside. But the broader point which I'm trying to say is, one, government is doing the right thing. We need those kind of things. But because we are in such a flux environment, in next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, slowly those kind of things will start moving in that direction. And time will tell what we can do. But in today's world, English becomes very important when you
Yes.
move from class 12th for any other program, any other jobs, any other AI model, any. I hope that answers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree to this. As a country, when we still rely on other countries for technology and whatever the reason may be, we need to give priority to English along with the regional language. We can take it up. So
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree to this. So what is the one piece of advice that you would like to give to early professional to stay competitive?
See, I think to stay competitive, students and early professionals should build strong blend of both technical and soft skills. I think a lot of times the technical skills are there, but we have seen in our own, we are working with various corporates. I am working with like 8 to 10 countries and people around that. If they do not have the right communication skills and soft skills, a lot of time when they are hesitating in explaining something, then people
Mhm.
try to read it that he is not clear about his topic, or
Yeah.
he is not able to explain something, which means he doesn't know. But that is not always the case. I can just give you an example of pharma industry where they are using the
Mhm.
TOEIC scores. In pharma industries, when the regulators come to ask some questions about the drug molecules and all in English, then the people who are not so much well versed with English, they are not able to answer. And then the drug is getting rejected a lot of time because they
Yeah.
believe that they do not know, or there is something going on which is not correct. But that is not the case. So most of the time we have seen they are trying to deploy the English language skills so that they are able to communicate well. Hence, the blend of technical and soft skills with communication skills is really important. It is not enough to just be good at what you do. You also need to be able to communicate well and adapt to a constantly changing environment. Earning globally recognized credentials, as I was telling to you, like TOEIC from ETS or workforce assessments from ETS, shows employers that you have got the skills they need. So you have to be on the lookout how the world is changing and how you can showcase to the employers beyond the way you have said, beyond the degrees on these softer aspects also.
Right. So the Crazy Career as a platform is a student-centric platform. So basically, if I can just focus it on one word, so Gen Z-centric platform. So what is your opinion about Gen Z as professionals? So you must have some employees working with you or team members working with you who are Gen Zs probably. So, what is your opinion about them?
I think the biggest challenge I see is the gap between academic learning and workplace readiness, right? Which I have said. Many young people have the knowledge but lack the ability to apply it in a practical, real world setting.
Yeah.
Navigate this, they need to go beyond their academic qualification. I think they should not rely that, okay, I have done so well in my academic. I have been able to score so well. I was the topper, or maybe I've done ABC things. It is important that they get the hands-on experience, whether it is through internships, volunteering, or taking on freelance
Yeah.
projects, because nothing teaches you when you are trying to work on something. What you have learned,
Right.
and when you are work. I mean, I can give you an example. When I learned metallurgy in my IIT, and when I applied in Vedanta, which was where I was trying to make aluminium, it was so different. I mean, I think the book knowledge and the real world experience are so different. So it is very
Yeah.
important that either through internships, volunteering, or taking on freelance projects, they should try to delve into the realities of what they are conceiving and what actually is the reality. And standardize assessments, as we have said, that we have a lot of assessment from ETS. So do take those assessments. I think you will be able to perform much better.
Absolutely. And one important skill that every generation, be it be like millennial, be it be Gen Z or Gen Alpha coming in, so they need patience. That's the one skill they need to develop. I mean, nothing can happen overnight. So they have to wait for the right time. Until that, they have to develop their skill. So, and self introspect, of course.
Yeah, I think this is something. Since you are touching it, I'll just say that this is the kind of life we are living in. So there was an article recently which I was reading, that earlier, to create $1 billion organizations, it used to take, say, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, but that time frame is shrinking now. Now everyone is in a hurry. The founder is in a hurry. The investor is in a hurry. The people are in a hurry. Everyone, the employee is in a hurry. Everyone is in a hurry. So you are absolutely right. While the shift is taking place on that side, but it is important to have that patience, because a lot of times the tough when tough times come, then it is very important to have patience, because only then you will be able to build on those real world skills and then move forward. Otherwise you will just give up, and then you will just continue to giving up.
Right. All right. It was really an insightful conversation, and thank you so much for joining us in today.
Thank you, Nita.